The NFL draft is less than a month away, and we've covered more quarterbacks this offseason than I've covered any other year. I've been making these scouting reports since 2019, and this is by far the deepest quarterback class I've seen. Tulane quarterback Michael Pratt is a prospect I just couldn't ignore. I was planning on doing a report on Notre Dame quarterback Sam Hartman next, but after watching some Pratt film and highlights, I just knew I had to make him a priority. Michael Pratt had a really successful career at Tulane, and in his career, he completed 60% of his throws for just under 10,000 yards, 90 touchdowns, 26 interceptions, over 1,000 rushing yards, 28 rushing touchdowns, and led Tulane to a 28-17 lifetime record there in 4 years. But what really stands out is his 2023 stats. 65% completion percentage, 2,500 passing yards, 22 touchdowns, 5 picks, 300 rushing yards, 5 touchdowns, and a 10-1 record. And even over his last 2 years, he's led Tulane to a 21-3 record and a bowl game win over number 1 overall pick, future superstar Caleb Williams. But despite his major collegiate success, Pratt is expected to be, at best, an early day 3 pick. So today, I want to show off what makes Pratt pop on film and what kind of skills he's bringing to the next level. Pratt is going to be a day 3 pick, so I don't want to spend a ton of time on his negatives or weaknesses. Obviously, he has some if he's going as a 4th, 5th, 6th round pick. I'll touch on them, but I mostly want to focus on what traits he has right now that made me so determined to get a scouting report out for Michael Pratt. So when it comes to Michael Pratt, the one thing you shouldn't expect is for him to be a check down Charlie, because that's definitely not at all what he is. You think of prospects like JJ McCarthy and Bo Nix, they're known for being rhythm passers, where you could run a pro style offense with them because they know how to get the ball out quick, they make reads, they know what to go with the ball all the time. And while Michael Pratt, I think, can read a defense pretty well, I don't think that's his strong suit, but pretty well, that's not what he is. This guy wants to throw the ball downfield, get chunk gains, and make big plays. He is a gunslinger, splashy play type of quarterback. So with Michael Pratt, the thing that stood out with me is he makes NFL throws, right? This is a whip route, and I'm going to show you a couple kind of whip route and corner routes here in the red zone that make me go, yeah, man, like that's an NFL throw. And why it stands out to me is Tulane's obviously not the most talented team. The receivers probably aren't going pro. And I realize too, Tulane's not playing the craziest competition. But I see a quarterback like Drake May, where I watch and I did a scouting report, and, I like Drake May, but I'm not in love like other teams are. Did Drake May make a lot of these throws in the red zone his senior year at UNC? And I say no. So when I see Michael Pratt, who's this day 3 pick, who is playing at Tulane, right, that his coach gives him the trust to make these NFL red zone type throws where potential 2nd or 3rd overall pick, Drake May at UNC, doesn't really have the freedom to do this, where everything's very scripted, everything's very slants or improv kind of BS red zone plays from Drake May, that makes me kind of have a few question marks about Drake May, but also makes me go, man, maybe Michael Pratt is being a little undervalued. All right, and now I really want to show you throws that showcase his strengths, and that's his arm strength and his ability to throw the ball downfield. One thing that we will touch on a little bit later, and one of his potential weaknesses, is consistently reading defenses, making multiple reads within a play, and then throwing. Here, that's not necessarily a problem at all. He immediately looks right, waits, doesn't see anything open, flips back left, and then finds the receiver. This ball gets away from him a little bit, but hey, listen, the receiver caught it, made a nice play, and if a number 87 from Tulane can make this catch, I think an NFL receiver is more than capable of making this catch at the next level. And what I liked about the last play and the play I'm about to show you is he fits it in that tight gap. We want to see this from NFL quarterbacks. Here, he pump fakes to the right. He waits for his receiver to break vertically. He gets it to him vertically, puts it on his back shoulder, protects his receiver, gets it there quick enough before the safety could come over and make a play. All around, it's a great, great play. Reads the defense great, gets a nice pump fake underneath, gets the DB to kind of bite and follow that underneath flat receiver to where there's a gap between the DB and the safety in that nice little hole, throws a back shoulder, good location, first down. Here's a really impressive play because it shows off a lot from Michael Pratt. Here, he comes off the play action on kind of the jet motion, and he has to get the ball out quick or he's eating a sack. 44 gets through, the right guard basically whiffs on the block, and 44 gets in the backfield, pressures quickly. Before really you should be able to make a read and get the ball off. But Pratt knows where to go with the ball. And I think most impressive, the arm strength while getting hit to hit a seam route up the middle before any kind of safeties can come over and make a play. Pratt has the rare balance of strength and touch, which we'll touch on later. But Pratt, he has the arm strength to make throws all over the field. And here's another throw that really demonstrates Michael Pratt's arm strength. Here against UCF, he throws basically a kind of deep slant route on a laser. I mean, this ball is flat. It gets there in a hurry. It's awesome. And the location is perfect. Hits the receiver right in stride and gets it right over that linebacker you see right there, number 15. Just times it perfectly to where 15 isn't athletic enough to kind of turn and bail back and get a hand on this ball. Just perfect timing right there. I dig it. And here's a throw that's not that crazy, but when you give Michael Pratt a clean pocket, I mean, God, he'll take this throw and he'll stick it every time. Here, he comes off the play action, he drops back, climbs the pocket, and then drives through this ball and fits it in a nice gap, puts it in a good location, low and away from any defenders. I dig it, man. I mean, if you give Michael Pratt a clean pocket, the arm pops, he drives through balls, and he puts it in good windows. I'm good with it. And before I get into the throws where you're going to be really, really impressed, I just wanted to show you that for all the downfield throws I'm going to show you here shortly, Michael Pratt isn't impervious to going, shorter. He's not afraid of curls, out routes, comebacks. He'll do it. It wasn't a big part of his game, and that's pretty obvious if you've ever watched Michael Pratt play a game, but it's not like it's invisible. It's not missing from his game. It's just more of a, hey, I'd rather throw downfield than take curls and slants and out routes. But like I'm showing you right now, I just wanted to sprinkle it in. They're there, man. I mean, he can make these throws and with pretty good timing. Maybe not with as great of timing as some of the better prospects, which I think he can improve on for sure, but still good enough timing to where I go, yeah, that's not bad. All right, and now let me show you what makes Michael Pratt special, and that's his throws down the field. Here he comes off the play action and just hits a simple play action deep cross. It's very easy. This is something that, Charger quarterback Justin Herbert lives on in the NFL. He eats on this throw. And Michael Pratt, easily one of his go-to routes. All right, and here's the deep shots. Pratt comes off a play action, and pressure comes pretty quickly. But Pratt's able to get the ball out, get enough touch and air under the ball to lead his receiver in stride. And that's my biggest thing. I love when they throw a deep ball, can you make your receiver catch and go? Not have to come back, not have to, fall back to the ball, not have to come back towards the defender. This is a pretty open throw, but Pratt can lead it out in front of his receiver for his receiver to get under the ball, track it, catch it, touchdown. And here's another one down the middle of the field where I go, yes, Michael Pratt, I dig it, man. I like the location. He let it just enough in front of his receiver to where he could pull away from his defender. And if the defender makes a play on that, then that's just a really great corner. Good job. But Michael Pratt, you could technically say it's a little underthrown, but I'll take it, man. I mean, the fact that he didn't lead it to backside, he led it towards more of the middle of the field where only his receiver could really extend and make a play, I'm in. And this is what I'm talking about. Here on the flea flicker, right? Pratt gets the ball, turns, and just fires it, 45, 50 yards down the field, in stride for his receiver to catch it and get into the end zone. This ball, if it's underthrown, there's a good chance it falls incomplete. It gets tipped away by number 6 because really the corner is right on the receiver's hip. I mean, he's a yard or two behind him. This ball is in a perfect spot. Pratt is just a master of these deep balls. And this is one of the plays that really convinced me where I went, yeah, I think Michael Pratt just might be a gamer. He might just have the mental kind of attitude for the NFL. Here, Tulane's up 5 with about 45 seconds left in the game. It's 4th and 9. What reason do you have to take an absolute go route for a touchdown? Why would you do that? Punt. Make UAB, who has no timeouts, go the entire length of the field, 80, 90 yards, punt it, pin them deep. But no, Michael Pratt, they go, hey man, brother, call game. And what does Pratt do? He answers, he delivers. That ball is perfect over the shoulder. You couldn't put it in a better spot. Michael Pratt is just a deep ball assassin. This guy is great. And here, another one against East Carolina where I go, did you just fit this ball 40 yards down the field between a DB and a safety? Absolutely, Michael Pratt did, because the dude is awesome at throwing the ball down the field. And, I'm talking super highly about Michael Pratt's deep ball. Sometimes he's not perfect, right? Like this ball right here. He underthrows it. That's an underthrow in my book. But It's like the perfect underthrow. He gets enough air under the ball, it's back shoulder. He allows his receiver enough time to readjust and go attack it at the high point. I just think if he's playing for Denver and he randomly gets some run in the NFL, like Cortland Sutton's going up and making this play. So to me, I go, even Michael Pratt isn't throwing the best deep ball he could throw. It's still really good. And then the last set of throws I really want to demonstrate with just showing off his deep ball and just honestly his ability to be a dynamic passer at the next level. I just truly believe it from what I've seen is his touch throws. They're there. They're not, plastered all over his film, but I have quite a few examples of me going, wow, you really know how to put touch and air under the ball. I mean, this throw right here, he comes off a play action, holds to the last second, and his ability to just get enough air under the ball and lead his receiver in stride towards the sideline, not lead him out of bounds, not underthrow it to where that defender can catch up. You can't let this ball hang in the air for too long. But Michael Pratt, perfection. Beautiful. And then here's a throw that's not crazy. It's a basic NFL tight end slot receiver corner route. Pretty basic, but the touch, the fact that Michael Pratt is able to just kind of stay under center, wait, and get enough touch right as the pressure does come and get it over that defender for only his receiver to get, I like it. And then here's one more touch throw on a corner route, pretty similar to the last play, where Pratt just waits, and he gets it up and over that defender. Technically, if you want to be nitpicky, a tad bit underthrown, but at the end of the day, man, I go, you're giving me touch throws like this, I'm in. Count me in. All right, so now's the time for me to talk about some negatives from Michael Pratt. I'm going to keep it short and simple. Michael Pratt doesn't always process the field great. Sometimes he's one read and then I got to go, whether that's getting outside the pocket or trying to extend a play, but he doesn't always read a defense all the way through. He doesn't make multiple reads within a play. And here's a perfect example where it's 4th and 3, you're in the red zone, you go, listen, I'm not settling for a field goal. I trust you to make a play. And he's a good athlete. We'll talk about it very shortly, but he's not this kind of athlete. He's not the athlete that's going to scramble around and make a bunch of guys miss. Good athlete, not special. But, you missed 2 open receivers. If you didn't want to take the throw over the middle of the field because it is a tight window, completely understand. The one that I have in yellow. But at the top of your screen, you have the one-on-one route. I trust Michael Pratt enough to have enough touch to make a good, kind of 50-50 jump ball with that one-on-one defender. Michael Pratt doesn't even look to the right side of the field. He locks in on the left, decides to scramble, turnover on downs. Pratt has to be better at knowing where to go with the ball and taking at least a 50-50 shot instead of a 20-80 shot on a scramble where you're going to make a defender miss. I'd rather him take the one-on-one shot at the top of the screen. Hopefully, maybe either the ball gets caught, maybe pass interference. Who knows? It's better than a, hopefully lucky scramble. And here's exactly what I was talking about. With Michael Pratt being such a downfield thrower, he doesn't always look underneath for easy completions. Here it's 3rd and 4, and you'll see at the bottom of the screen, number 17 literally turns at the first down marker and is wide open. This should be hit 10 out of 10 times on 3rd and 4. Instead, Pratt looks left, never looks right, and then panics and then tries to take off into nothing. Sure, sometimes that works in college, but that's not going to work in the NFL. I mean, that is an easy trap sack right there. If you can't make the easy reads, then you're never going to succeed at the next level. So that's something Michael Pratt just has to get better at. And here's the last thing I really want to talk about on a negative side with Michael Pratt. It's sometimes when he's in the pocket, he needs to be better at maneuvering within. Here, it's this, he should just never be hit on this play. This defender basically should never get pressure on him because he should be able to step up in the pocket, climb the pocket, and avoid all pressure. And when he does that, that is just going to open up so many more passing lanes for him to actually be able to see. And here, right, he gets hit and he kind of has to force his throw in. But if he's able to step up within the pocket, climb, there might be a rushing lane, or that might open up the whole left side of the field. But he doesn't climb, gets hit from behind, and has to get this ball out, inaccurate, incomplete pass. And then here is like the perfect example of what can go wrong if you don't step up in the pocket. Here, you don't step up in the pocket, your elbow gets hit, and you throw a pick. And it's not a pick that's your fault necessarily, but it's going against you, man. Ask Zach Wilson. I'm sure he's had a million of these. There is an open lane for him to climb the pocket. if he just climbs this pocket, there is a rush lane, or there is at least a lane for you to step up and then make a throw downfield. But instead, you don't step up, you wait, elbow gets hit, ball pops in the air, you get a bad pick. And quickly, before we end the video, I just want to talk about the type of athlete that Michael Pratt is and what kind of athleticism he'll bring to the next level, especially on the ground. And he's not going to be a superstar on the ground, but there are opportunities for him to get, 5, 6 rushing attempts a game. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Will Levis, where we saw him kind of be not a dynamic rusher, but one that is viable, one that can extend plays, one that can take a few read options a game and actually make plays. And then here's a scramble from 30 yards out where, Michael Pratt just pump fakes and then takes off. The play breaks down, he gets past the middle linebacker and gets into the end zone. So, as you can see, not a crazy athlete, but can still be productive on the ground. I mean, we'll see it at the next level. He'll be in that 200-yard rushing kind of number range, maybe a handful of QB sneaks and goal line rushes. Because, he's not a slouch, but he's not super dynamic. But at the next level, he could definitely extend plays and make some scrambles happen. And then here's a really nice read option against UCF where Pratt keeps the ball, breaks a tackle, and gets the edge and actually starts to pull away from some defenders before sliding smartly. And it's the one thing about Michael Pratt too. When he gets into open space, he's not willing to really take hits. He plays it smart. He knows he's not juking out a million guys, so he's willing to just slide and play it safe. Michael Pratt is a very fun prospect. He has a ton of very important traits that make a quarterback successful at the next level. But he also needs to work on his feel within the pocket and his ability to get through more than one read in a progression more often. You can't just settle for one read and then take off. It never works in the NFL. I don't care how talented you are. You can be the best passer in the history of the NFL. If you don't know where to go with the ball, you'll never be successful. My hope for Michael Pratt is that he goes to a team like the Jets, Atlanta, LA Rams, and sits behind a veteran for a while and maybe develops into a starter eventually, and maybe at the end of the year, possibly gets into some games and plays, whatever it is. I don't want him to play right away. I don't want him to be a starter for a team. I doubt he will be since, he is projected to be a day 3 pick. But if you can eventually work on him being able to read within a pocket and move within a pocket and read defenses, I think Michael Pratt has a lot of upside in the league. But that is a major hurdle and a pretty significant weakness. If he can figure it out, I think he has the skills to be a really good NFL quarterback, but the mental game has to be there first.